Today we're doing a Gin Galaxy. So I'm a sneakerhead myself. Like I absolutely love sneakers, shoes. It's ridiculous. So why not do a cocktail inspired by the Galaxy foam posit? So oddly enough, before this pop chat, I had already created this cocktail. We're talking months back, just off of the whole vibe of the Galaxy foam posit just being such an incredibly looking, just amazing looking shoe, And I was like, oh, well, maybe I can craft a cocktail out of it. The shoe came out in, I want to say 2012, 2013, 2012, one of those. And it caught on. It was like one of those kind of sneakers. It's really hard to get now. I looked today on StockX, and I think that same sneaker goes for like 2,100 right now or something on Stock. It's wild. The sneaker in itself is amazing and it looks awesome. So we're gonna try to recreate all those cool little colors in a cocktail. So we're doing some rosé vermouth, which is gonna be the base, which is gonna give it like kind of reddish, pinkish tinge. And then we're gonna be doing some blue curacao, gin, lemon juice, lavender bitters, and then I'm doing agave for sweetener. So originally, this cocktail I was gonna do like a butterfly pea blossom simple syrup, but I kind of ran out of time. So you guys can kind of see what they actually look like. These are the blossoms, and you kind of make the simple syrup with that, water, sugar, and then it adds like this really cool hue to any kind of cocktail, and it looks amazing. So I'm gonna use the blue curacao. Still gonna look cool. The blue's just gonna be a little off, but like I say, with any kind of cocktail, long as you're happy with the cocktail itself and you like what you're drinking, you'll be fine. So we're gonna start with putting about an ounce of our rosé vermouth, excuse me, into the bottom of the glass. Oh my gosh, sorry. All right. As you can see, it's kind of got like this little kind of pinkish tint, right? Then we add crushed ice to our glass. If you don't have crushed ice, it's fine, no big deal. Or you can do like I did. I literally just took a whole bunch of ice cubes and put them in my blender and blended them up until they were crushed. Same concept, right? And sit that off to the side. Then we're gonna add a little bit of our blue curacao, just a little bit, just to give it a little bit blue hit. 1 ounce lemon juice, 1.5 ounces of our aviation gin, right? A little bit of sweetener, because if not, with that lemon juice, it's going to be bitter and you're not going to be happy with yourself, I promise, right? And then 2 to 3 dashes of some lavender bitters. I always say bitters are like the salt and pepper of cocktails, right? So they add depth, they add flavor. Lavender is just one of those bitters that just add incredible aroma, and it adds a nice flavor to the cocktail. And with gin, lavender plays beautifully together, right? And then we add our ice. And then we just give her a good shake. You know the drill. Give it with a bartender smile. Make sure it's well shaken and chilled. Boom. And then you strain this right over the top. Boom. There we go. And this is kind of snow cone style. So then you just top it off with some more crushed ice. I know on the photo I hit it with a little edible flower. And then there you go. I know you guys can't really see the pink faded to blue because of how this camera is, but when those colors start kind of like gelling and all kind of melting together, it goes from like pink to purple to blue to white. and it looks amazing. Cheers.
Cheers. That's a cool, cool one. Love the colors. And I looked up a picture of the two and it matches perfectly. I would like to make a special toast because I see Brian Hurst is here and it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I appreciate you spending your birthday with us. How fun.
Brian.
Of course. Of course.
Did you lose a bet?
We'll make sure it's a good birthday. I saw Anna Laura had a question. Let's see. Do you want to unmute, Anna Laura? Feel free.
Sure. Yeah. Miles, where did you find the lavender bitters?
So Scrappy's, if you go on Scrappy's website, they actually have a whole line of bitters, and I swear up and down by their bitters. When I first started doing this like cocktail journey, those were the ones that they were like really, really behind me. I used like the good old Angostura bitters and all that stuff like everybody else. And then once they literally sent me their whole range of bitters, and I started digging into their brand and digging into how they make the actual bitters themselves. They make them in small batches in things like lemon bitters, lime bitters. They use fresh products. They don't use synthetic stuff. So you get like the real deal. It's potent. But yeah, go on their site. Their bitters are amazing. Like probably some of the best bitters I've used in any kind of cocktail, for sure.
Good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also was trying to figure out where you buy the edible flowers. Could you go over that again?
The pea blossoms, you can order those off Amazon, to be honest with you. They'll have like an array of different versions that you can get, or you can get you can order like a powder, and you can do it that way. But they're pretty easy to get. It's nothing like crazy and exotic and stupid, like expensive or anything. And it's kind of cool to toy with, because when you're toying with cocktails, and you want to try something new, I think a lot of people don't, just because of one, a lot of times they don't know what they're doing, and two, it gets expensive. So these are one of those things where you can try it and not really worry about the price tag on it. It's nothing crazy.
Good to know. Thank you. Any other questions? Did you say you had those sneakers, Miles?
No, that's one that I was just telling Melissa. She was asking me about that, and I passed, and I regret passing on them so bad. I was really, really big into getting sneakers that I couldn't get as a kid. You know, I grew up in a big family, so buying expensive sneakers was non-existent. And when I got in a position where I can kind of just buy what I want as far as sneakers, at that time, 2012 especially, I was buying sneakers every weekend, but I was basically going after all the ones that I couldn't get as a kid. So all the original colorways, a lot of them, I was like, oh, those came out when I was a kid and I wanted them. Boom, I went and got them. And that opportunity came, and I was like, $220, you know, it seems like it's a little steep until you look at what they're worth now and the resale value on them. You're like, okay, I shouldn't have passed up on that one. But, you know, you live and you learn.
And you have the cocktail instead. That's better, right?
Exactly. You know, love doing this anyway. I think I like this more than standing in line waiting for sneakers, to be honest. But I do love sneakers, though. Don't get it twisted. If I can get my hands on some without waiting hours in line, I'll do it.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. What about you, Azad? Did you have those?
No, I didn't. That is, I mean, those are what people call grills, which are like one of the sneakers that are on like everyone's wish list. So yeah, I don't have those, unfortunately. I was never a big foam posit fan though. They're really clunky shoes. They're big shoes. So I never was a big fan of them.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we will just get by with the cocktails and be just as happy. So again, thank you, Miles, for putting that together for us. We always want to tip our bartenders. So feel free if you want to follow Miles on Instagram. He's at Standish Cocktails. And then we also have him on Venmo and Cash App. So tips are appreciated. Wait, there's a new glass? What's going on? following the chat here.
Yeah, so I have been wanting an Aperol Spritz glass, but they don't like sell them on the website. So at Gov Ball this weekend, there was an Aperol Spritz tent that was like above the Coinbase one that I was at, and somebody walked in to our tent with a Spritz glass. Like this man was just drinking out of it. So as soon as he walked away, I stole his drink and put it in my purse.
Can't bring her anywhere.
I want just look at how cute it is.
You're wild.
That's
You deserve
worthy
it.
of stealing.
Yes.
It had to be done. I'm sure he didn't miss it. I'm sure Aperol, the company, is doing okay without this one little plastic glass.
Yes.
I think they're doing all right.
I actually saw a Reddit thread about this guy who lost his glass. He was like freaking out about it.
Don't you collect
Sold.
glasses, Edme? Don't you collect?
Yeah,
pint
I
glasses?
when I like go somewhere, I'll get like a pint glass instead of like I used to do like shot glasses, but just can't
Go
be doing
somewhere
shots
like every
anymore.
bar that you go to when you go like.
Not like bars, like, but if I'll go to like when I went to like the Bills game, I went to like their stadium, I went and got like pint glasses, like or just anywhere I have like really
Broadway
cool
shows and stuff like
memories
that.
they sell. Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Smart.
You can never have enough.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Miles. Always appreciate it. We'll have to get together soon so we can drink this in person. Anything else you want to share with us? Anything we can help cheer you on and support you with?
Man, I'm like I always said, I'm on the grind, you know. Just the follows and the likes is always appreciated. As she said, I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest and everywhere else under the same name. It's Standish Cocktails. You know, and I'm just full of steam with my videos, and it's been good. I've been enjoying it.
Love it. All right. Well, keep it up. Again, appreciate it. So yeah, tonight's headliner, our favorite sneakerhead, Azad Yakatally. I have to know, are you wearing any crazy sneakers right now?
Nothing too crazy. A pair of Jordan 1s in the Lakers colorway, purple and gold. I unfortunately not for something from home, or else I would have my sneaker wall behind me. I got stuck in the office, so you guys can't see my IKEA cabinet that I bought, and you can't see my sneaker collection. So sorry about that.
We were ready for the IKEA reveal.
I know, and that was the main draw. I think everyone's leaving right now. I just saw the.
I was about to log off. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, IKEA. All right,
the numbers
I'm
just
out.
going down. Participants are just dropping down
Yep.
left and right.
The suspense
Alrighty,
last time.
share my screen.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty, so I'm using Canva for the first time ever, so that'll be fun. So what I'm here to talk to everyone about is the rise of sneakerhead culture and what brands can learn from it. I'm Azad, if you don't know who I am. I am a girl dad. I have a 2.5-year-old at home, a huge sneakerhead. I have 147 pairs of sneakers in my collection. That has been trimmed down recently. I sold about 70 pairs when I moved a year and a half ago. So I have a lot of sneakers. I have a bit of a problem. I'm unfortunately a Knicks fan, so all I do is lose. Probably like my compensating for like the struggles of being a Knicks fan, I just buy sneakers to make myself feel happy because my favorite team gives me no joy. And I'm a digital marketer by trade. I've been doing this for 12 years. I focus on social media. And yeah, I'm gonna talk to you guys about sneakers. We're gonna go through what I think many people in the sneaker community consider the 3 phases of sneaker culture. The underground area, when it was just kind of getting buzz. Pop culture, which is Pop Chat would be very familiar with when sneakers really started making it to the mainstream. And then where we are right now, which is the digital age of sneakers. So anyone know probably the most famous sneaker of all time, the Chuck Taylor All-Star. This is probably the earliest case of a brand building a product and a market for it at the same time. So for those of you who don't know, Chuck Taylor wasn't a basketball player. He was a salesperson. So these should probably be called like the SDR ones because he was in sales and not much of an athlete. But Converse at the time was a rubber company that just created a really innovative product, a sneaker, a basketball shoe. But in 1917, basketball wasn't super popular. It was only about 25 years old. Not most of the country wasn't playing it. So to kind of help sell this product, they came up with the idea of the Converse All-Stars, which was a traveling basketball team that would go from town to town and basically beat up on high school teams and college teams and sell their shoe. They were coached by Chuck Taylor, and as they kind of made their way around the country, the Converse All-Star, the Chuck Taylor All-Star, I should say, became the king of basketball shoes. And that was a title that they held for 70 years until Nike knocked them off. But contrary to popular belief, Chuck Taylor, this technically isn't a signature shoe. Signature shoes are probably what the most popular thing in sneakers are. Chuck Taylor's aren't a signature shoe because he wasn't an athlete. The first signature shoe came in 1963 with the Adidas Stan Smith. Adidas, which is a German company, was still trying to make its name internationally and figured out that signing a world-class athlete would probably be the key to it. And they signed Stan Smith, who was the #1 tennis player in the world at the time, just coming off a US Open win and en route to his first Wimbledon championship. This became Adidas' most best-selling sneaker of all time, which is crazy because you fast forward 6 years later, and it's still their #1 seller. And it was a formula that was pretty easy to replicate. Put a star athlete in front of your brand and let them sell the sneaker for you. But for some reason, brands wouldn't do it. Stan Smith was, for a very long time, the only signature athlete in sneakers. Can anyone guess why? Racism. So as professional sports became more popular, Black athletes started dominating professional sports. And the owners and the powers that be were really hesitant to give Black athletes a platform, put them in front of their companies, put them in front of their teams. And here is an article from the February 26, 1979 edition of Sports Illustrated, with quotes from every NBA owner basically saying that they were worried about the future of the sport because Black people were becoming the most talented people in the game, and they weren't sure how they would sell a Black sport to a white public. Crazy to think about it because it's 1979, which is not that long ago, and basketball was pretty popular at that time. I mean, Dr. J was already dominating the league. The Knicks had already won their championship and haven't won one since. Like they were, it was around for a long time, but we were hesitant to give a Black athlete the star power and the notoriety that they deserved because of racism. But then in 1985, a small company came around and found an athlete that would change all of that, Michael Jordan. So in 1985, Michael Jordan was a college standout. He was technically an Olympian, but he had never played an NBA game before. Nike saw his potential and was competing with Adidas to sign him. What made them win Michael Jordan to a 5-year deal was the fact that they offered him a signature shoe. He would be the only NBA player with a signature shoe, and they just felt that his style of play, which was playing above the rim, he jumped like crazy, would really tie in with their new technology, which is what they called air technology, hence the name, the Air Jordan 1. And when it's released in 1985, they released it in 2 colorways: the home colorway, the Chicago colorway, which is the one that's predominantly white, and then the away colorway, which is predominantly black. And they had modest expectations. They initially expected to sell 100,000 pairs of sneakers, and then they got a fateful letter from the NBA saying that the black and red pair was banned. Basically, it violated their league policy because he wasn't wearing team colors on his shoe. The NBA has a long history of policies and dress codes, and this is one of them from the 80s, which probably spells disaster for a young company who just invested a lot of money in an unproven star. But they have an amazing marketing team, and they released this commercial.
No sound, I don't think.
Oh no. Yeah.
You can narrate for us if you want, but
On September 15th, Nike
Yeah.
created a revolutionary new basketball shoe. Unfortunately, the NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, the NBA can't stop you from wearing them. Air Jordans from Nike. I don't have the dramatic voice, sorry about that. But this ad basically ran immediately after they were told that he can no longer play in these shoes. And every game that he played his rookie season, he won the Rookie of the Year, he won the Slam Dunk Contest that year, he was wearing the white sneakers. But every time off the court, he was wearing the black and red version. So you see all the promo photos, every time he was in the magazine, even during the dunk contest, which wasn't an actual game, he was allowed to go out of dress code, he wore the black and red version of the sneakers. And the company that had initially thought they would sell 100,000 pairs sold 3.5 million pairs of those sneakers in their first year, just catapulting Nike to the forefront of sneakers and introducing us to the world of signature sneakers. All of a sudden, brands weren't afraid to put a black athlete in front of their logo. Within the next year, Hakeem Olajuwon, who's also a standout in the same draft class, got this ugly ass Etonic Hakeem's. Patrick Ewing, my favorite player of all time, got an Adidas signature sneaker and then created his own brand the following year. Charles Barkley got a signature sneaker. Shaq got a signature sneaker. Every athlete just started getting signature shoes. And, you know, the sneakers became a part of American culture. After the success of the Air Jordan, every company focused on basketball shoes. And they were just giving out signature shoes left and right and finding different avenues within the culture. So Nikes and Adidas, which now were the two big dogs in sneakers, were fighting for NBA stars. So Adidas had Patrick Ewing, Nike had Michael Jordan, Nike got Charles Barkley, Adidas got someone else. And Reebok found another avenue and they focused on streetball because they weren't making shoes that would survive the turf of playing on asphalt. So they focused on the Pump, which was a heavier built sneaker that would last for outdoor play. And that became their identity for a very long time, and even allowed them to land Allen Iverson, who was a icon in street fashion and street ball, and Brand had a pair of those. So, that is where the three big sneaker companies kind of found their footing. But, I said the sneakers became a part of American culture. It really became part of Black culture. And Black culture is American culture. At the same time as the Air Jordan was selling off the shelves, Adidas had the Run DMCs. And these are the superstars that everyone's familiar with. They were initially not really big fans of Run DMC wearing their sneakers and wearing their clothes. The fact that they wore them without laces was often associated to or tied into a jailhouse style because we weren't allowed to wear shoelaces in jail. But Adidas saw that, the culture was skewing towards hip hop, towards Black culture, and they embraced it. They signed them. Run DMC released the song My Adidas, and the Superstar just became a dominant shoe for Adidas and kind of held them afloat while Nike kind of dominated the 90s. So from the first phase of sneakers being sort of invented to kind of getting ingrained into pop culture, I think brands can take away that customers are the ones who decide the market. So, the decision makers at the time in this entire country was hesitant in giving Black athletes the stage. They didn't want to endorse them, they want to give them some signature shoes, but the community decided that for them. Run DMC was wearing the sneakers regardless of Adidas was paying them or not. And Nike took a bet on Michael Jordan, and they're still the king of sneakers because of it. And the second one is sell an emotion, not a product. So happiness, sadness, fear, anger, 4 big emotions. And Nike, sold anger because their sneakers were rebellious. The black and red band Jordans were kind of sticking it to the establishment. And the same thing with the Run DMC, with the Adidas Superstars. Hip hop music as a whole was, categorized as angry, as anti-establishment, and sneaker companies leaned in on that. And this is what they kind of sold to their clientele. Now we're in the 90s and a culture is born. Sneakerheads have arrived. People are now obsessed with sneakers. If it's a niche community, but it's a fast growing one. There are collaborations coming out, limited drops coming out. People are lining up for sneakers, and their resellers are now being born, which is kind of a art dealer, but for sneakers. And what they would do back in the 90s and early 2000s was source really rare pair of sneakers for you. For example, the pigeon dunks, which are photographed here. They would source them for you because they were just so hard to get, and they would sell them for a crazy price. So like we mentioned before, the Galaxy foam posits, they were a grail because they were super hard to get. A reseller in the early 2000s would get you that pair and sell them to you for a couple $100 extra. And you know, the community, the sneaker companies catered to the community. Back in the 80s and the 70s, they were hesitant to deal with hip hop culture, with all the risque things that came along with the culture. But in the 90s and 2000s, they embraced them. Jay-Z got a signature sneaker, G-Unit got a signature sneaker. Nike learned about the skate community and the pothead community and made sneakers designed for them. Fat Joe had this iconic episode in MTV Cribs where he licked the bottom of a sneaker. It was ingrained in our culture. And then in 2009, Nike released the Air Yeezy. And you know, for a lot of people, Kanye West is polarizing. I think something that can't be denied is that he had such an impact on fashion and especially sneaker culture. So like I mentioned before, sneaker brands were allowing artists, musical artists, to kind of get their own sneakers. Jay-Z had the S. Carter, G-Unit had a pair of Reeboks as well, but they weren't designing them yet. Kanye West was the first rap artist to design his own sneaker. And he came out with the Nike Air Yeezy, which is, when we talk about grails, the probably on everyone's list as sneaker that they want. Super rare pair, for example, the red pair right here are selling on StockX for $40,000. And yeah, $40,000. He is the king of sneakers. He actually, a sneaker designed by him is the highest selling sneaker of all time. In 2021, an unreleased pair of those Yeezys sold for $1.8 million Sotheby's. So he kind of turned sneakers into art. He made them collectibles. And since then, sneaker brands have just leaned in. Sneakers for the culture, by the culture. Now, any sneaker that you see with a high resale price isn't a normal Nike. It's a Nike collaboration, whether it's Travis Scott, Virgil Abloh, or Kanye West, Supreme, Stussy, or like a high-end luxury brand like Comme des Garçons. They're collaborating with fashion, with skateboard communities, with everyone that's just heavily involved in their culture, as opposed to straying away from it. They're collaborating with them. Here's more examples of artists, the Joe Freshgoods, New Balance, which New Balance is really late to the game when it comes to collaborating. They just started doing it a couple of years ago. And New Balance is now probably one of the most popular sneakers of all time because they are collaborating with a Black streetwear designer called Joe Fresh. They're collaborating with Teddy Santis, who is also another streetwear designer. And you know, Crocs are even getting in the game. These are the Bad Bunny Crocs, which are really hard to get. So every single shoe is collaborating with sneaker culture. And a couple lessons for that, you know, let creators create. Sponsorships have evolved to collaborations. Sneaker brands have given celebrities and artists the creative freedoms to build products that are authentic to them, thus being authentic to the culture. As you know, us as marketers, when we are working with influencers or we're just collaborating, we have to learn from sneaker companies and allowing the creators that we're collaborating with to do their thing. I work in social media. I know what it is to work with an influencer and like worry about the brand voice. And that's when you lose the authenticity of that collaboration. If sneaker brands have taught us anything, it's just let those creators do what they do best and you'll reap the benefits. And the second one is cultivating community isn't always commoditizing it. So like I mentioned before, the resale market turned into a thing in the 90s. That was obviously an opportunity for Nike to make more money. Yeah, their sneakers were rare, but what if they just made more of them? Then they would get all that money. Instead, they let the community flourish and they didn't get a piece of that pie. And it really kind of created a lore of, you know, collecting sneakers. It gamified their product, even though they weren't necessarily getting the revenue from those sales. And now we're in the digital age, which in my opinion is the death of sneakers. In 2015, StockX was born, and other companies soon followed, like Grill and Goat. And this basically turned the resale market, which was really niche, like I said before, almost like an art sellers network, to something that anyone can access. And with that, prices for sneakers just shot up, because now, as opposed to having to know someone who can get you a pair of sneakers, you can just jump online and buy them from anywhere. And the market has gotten manipulated. That service was, like I said before, initially reserved for ultra rare sneakers. Unfortunately, with technology advancements, resellers are just buying up every single pair of sneakers in the market and just creating false scarcity in the market, and then selling them for a inflated price. So again, a service that was reserved for rare sneakers is now happening to sneakers that were originally available at Foot Locker. You were supposed to be able to walk into Foot Locker and buy a pair of Jordan 1s. Now you can't. You've got to go to StockX or Go or to a reseller and pay a $200 markup. And unfortunately, that is because sneakers just became super popular. Hypebeasts are a thing. Social media is a thing. And it really kind of brought sneaker culture to the forefront. You can see when you follow StockX sales trend, when TikTok exploded early in the pandemic, the prices for sneakers mimicked it, because people on TikTok were educating others about sneaker culture. Sneakers were becoming cool, and everyone wanted a pair. So then they would go to StockX and buy it, and the resellers would buy up the entire market and just basically control the market. So right now, unfortunately, we're in a place in the sneaker world that a lot of original sneakerheads are not really thrilled about. And it's because the market is now dictated by people who are just buying pairs, creating false scarcity and selling up hype. Lessons for brands are: one, embrace UGC. Even though it kind of sucks for me as a sneaker fan, the fact that people were making videos on TikTok, the fact that every Saturday morning when you wake up and you jump on Twitter, you'll see the got 'em screenshots all over your feed. Nike was giving people something to share, to kind of tell everyone else that they have a product. They were embracing creators who were making videos about their sneakers and would send them pairs to just kind of also create the hype. And it's worked. You can't keep a pair of Jordans on the shelf. But also, I think the sneaker companies need to learn how to protect the community. Original sneakerheads are now getting really upset with the sneaker buying process, and Nike and other companies are starting to pull in measures to protect the community. They're trying to get rid of bots. They're actually suing StockX for selling fake pairs, because now there are a bunch of fake pairs on the market. So companies also need to learn how to protect the community, because as it grows, new risks appear. People start to scam you, and it just becomes a mess. And that's where we are. Here's our recap. Basically, what I learned from sneakers and what I apply to my marketing are that customers decide your market. You sell an emotion, not a product. You should protect your community. Obviously, embrace UGC. You don't always have to profit off your community, and then you let creators create. And that's it.
Thank you so much. This was so well put together. I feel like we need a documentary on this. I don't know if there is one that exists, but just seeing the whole evolution, I definitely learned a lot. We have some questions, or I'll open it up for questions. If anyone wants to come off mute, feel free to ask our sneakerhead expert.
I would just like to say that watching this presentation makes me very grateful to be a Gigantosaurus Rex, and the fact because they do not make these shoes in my size. I wear a 15 quadruple E shoe. I'm like 6'5" for reference. I'm a huge being. They don't make cute shoes when you wear a boat. It's the most beautiful. $75 on average ass 86 Venture 5s until I die. It's a beautiful feeling. I don't know why I felt the need to communicate that, but whatever. I'm high.
So the exclusion is a blessing. Oh my gosh. Who else has questions?
There's 2 in the chat. Anna and Miles have them.
Oh, go ahead, Anna.
Well, Azad, first of all, I hope you own that doormat because it's excellent.
I do, yeah.
But where do you buy most of your sneakers?
Oh man, so I've been buying sneakers for a very long time. So I've built a network of connects. So I have friends. So
You have a
it's
Foot
very
Locker hookup.
shameful. I've got a Foot Locker hookup. Yeah. They call it backdooring in the sneaker community. It's basically they get really upset that stores sell out, and a lot of people accuse stores of basically selling the pairs out the back door to their friends and family.
And that's you.
I'm their friends and family. Yeah. So I get most pairs that I really want. I'm able to kind of get through friends that I've kind of built being a part of this community. So.
What was your most recent purchase?
Oh man, I just bought a pair of New Balances, Amy Leon Dore collaboration.
That means nothing to me, but congrats.
Thank you.
Miles said, "Leak the plug."
I can't.
He'll be out to get you. But yeah, Miles had a question as well, but I lost it. Yeah, how do you feel about the Yeezy influence with sneakerheads right now?
I mean, he's controversial. I'm a huge Kanye fan when it comes to his music and fashion, not necessarily a lot of his other life decisions. But I think Kanye. I was in high school when he became super popular, so it was super influential. Or he was super influential for me when it comes to like fashion and music. So like, I like it. I do like Yeezys. They're hella comfortable, and like I said before, I think he changed the game for sneakers. Like if Jordan was the first athlete, if Jordan brought us to the 90s of like popularity of sneakers and waiting online and unfortunately people getting like robbed for sneakers, Kanye is the evolution of it because he's designing his own sneakers and his are selling out just as much.
Nice. And Jermaine, let's see. Feel free to come off mute if you want, but he said, have you hit on the Nike app? I don't know what that means.
I have. Not as often as I'd like, but I've got a couple of pairs. I got Travis Scott 6s on the Nike app. I got my pair of Mochas on the Nike app. So I hit every now and then. I try the Nike app before I try like raffles before I go to my plug and get sneakers at a premium. So I kind of go through the legal sources first before I go to my backdoor supply.
All right. I have a question. What's one celebrity that you want to see have a sneaker collab, and what brand do you want to see it with? Like that hasn't had one already.
That's a great question. Yeah, that would throw me for a loop. I would probably say I'd really like to see like a Frank Ocean sneaker. I think he is defining a genre of music, and generally that translates into like their entire artistic view. And he's doing a movie with A24, so he obviously has a vision. I think he would make a great sneaker. I was gonna say The Weeknd, but he had a Puma collaboration. It's horrendous. So
what would the Frank Ocean ones look like?
That's a good question. I mean, you have. I think they would be like, I think they would probably be like Wallabies. Actually, they probably wouldn't even be sneakers. They would probably be more along the Wallaby vibe. But I think something cool, something chill.
It wouldn't be like the air bubble just filled with water.
Just tears.
Vin, did you have a pick in mind for your same question? Like who you would want to see?
Oh, I didn't. That's why I asked it.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see Andre 3000 collaborate with anyone. I love that guy. So I think he's just like doing his own thing in like a farm or something, but let that man collab with any brand and I'm all about it.
It's funny because you asked that question. If you asked it 5 years ago, I would have tons of people, but now artists are just collaborating on sneakers all the time. Like there are more rapper and musical artists signature sneakers than there are athletes signature sneakers in the market right now. A$AP Rocky, Bad Bunny, Travis Scott. You know, the only sneaker that is really selling are LeBrons. So, you know, there's not another real signature sneaker that's selling. So that's actually where we are right now. Sneakers more of a musical artist. But Billie Eilish has a pair. Like they're
Little Nas X and his
Little
Satan
Nas X,
shoes.
yeah, his Satan shoes. So that's where we are right now. And when we're talking about the lifespan of sneakers, it started with signature athletes, and now it's become, you know, music artists.
I never really noticed that.
I was shocked when Kawhi signed with New Balance.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, wait, I was like, what's going on right now?
Well, when I mentioned earlier about New Balance being late to the game, Kawhi was the athlete. They stopped making basketball sneakers for a very long time, and then Kawhi won a championship. They signed him, and they didn't really put out much product until recently because they were just completely doing a revamp and embracing Black culture. And like, there's a video for the Joe Fresh Goods collabo where it's unspoken voices, and it's basically leaning into just like the Black community being able to communicate without speaking, and that is his inspiration behind that entire line. And has Kawhi and Joe Fresh in the commercial, and it's working. New Balance are sold out everywhere. If you go online right now, you can't get a pair of New Balance 550s in stores, and they were dad shoes a year ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, speaking
New
of Lil
Balance
Nas X,
used to release the same two pairs of shoes in the same like two fucking colors over and over again. And I know that because I had to wear them because they're the only ones that made my size. I just had like, all I needed was a pair of like, you know, super fitted, like, you know, light blue jeans and like a polo shirt to pull off the whole fucking look. It was like
the dad at the barbecue look.
It was a tragic experience. I was a gay kid in the 90s and early 2000s. I wanted to sparkle, and I had to fucking sparkle. That was hurtful. Stop talking now.
All good, all good. Let's see. I think Jenny wants to know, what's your favorite sneaker in your collection?
Oh, that's a good question. So my favorite sneaker of all time are the Air Jordan 13 in the He Got Game colorway. So the sneakers that were created for He Got Game, the Spike Lee movie that came out in the 90s. Mainly because that movie focused on Coney Island and a basketball player from Coney Island. I'm from Coney Island. So like it just spoke to me as a teenager, like seeing my neighborhood, seeing a movie about my childhood idol. It was loosely based on stuff on Marbury. You know, in theaters, the basketball courts that I grew up playing on in the movies, that spoke a lot to me. And so those pair will always hold a special place in my heart.
Love that. Love the background. Okay. Anna Laura wants specific. She wants to know, what's your monthly sneaker budget?
Oh, damn.
Asking the hard questions.
Shit, that's a great question.
Right?
It depends. So, fuck, I'm kind of ashamed to say it, but probably like $800 to $1,000 a month. Probably that's a sneaker. On like a good month or a bad month, depending on who you ask. But you know, I will always probably spend like $300 a minimum on sneakers, and like in a good month, if there got a lot of good pairs coming out and I'm hitting on sneakers, I'll spend $1,000.
Did you just say you spent $800 a month on sneakers?
Yeah.
He said on a bad day. He said on a bad month.
On a bad month.
You could buy a second home with that money.
Azad's accountant is screaming right now.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's something that I've been trying to kind of get a wrangle on. But
hey, live your life. I understand. I'm not judging you. I was just like shocked by that, because I was like $800 to $1,000 a year. Like, you know, that makes sense. You buy a couple of pairs. You're like, no, bitch, that's not what we're doing here. We're buying it. That's what you're telling me.
I respect it.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, but now with like sneaker culture as a whole, where you can kind of resell things, I do like sometimes just
That's
sell
true.
pairs,
It's an investment.
It's an investment. But like, you know, right now it's a recession, so sneaker prices are down. I'm stocking up. You know, you got to buy low.
Sure, there's a whole strategy.
But budget probably went down to 700.
Inflation. Brian has a question. Brian, do you want to ask it off mute, or does everyone want me to keep reading these?
Yeah, I got this. Azad, I was just curious if there's any update on our old friend LeVar Ball and what he's up to with Big Baller Brands.
That's hilarious. I mean, he's coming back out with the shoe, but he doesn't have any athletes, which is crazy. So some background to those of you who aren't familiar: LeVar Ball is the father of 2 NBA players, technically 3. One's not in the league anymore, but he is a very animated, outspoken dad. And when his kids were in college and high school, he basically anointed them as the next great thing, and sold a pair of sneakers. The Big Baller Brand ones, I think they were called, the BBB ones, for $500, and they were a horrible sneaker. They would literally fall apart on the court, before any of his sons achieved anything. And the company kind of went under. There was like embezzlement, fraud, a whole bunch of things going on with the company. And since then, his oldest son signed with, I want to say Nike, and his youngest son, who is the best player in that family, just got a signature shoe, Puma.
Edmay has a question.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, do you actually wear all of the sneakers that you buy, or are some of them just like collector items? Do you just like, is it just like the high of like hitting on one of the apps? Because like I see so many people on Twitter, like week after week, will post the like either got them or like I didn't get them posts, and I'm like, do you really love all of these sneakers that every single week you're like, gotta have it, got a must have item? So it's like, what's the motivation? Like, are you actually wearing all of these, or are these just like, is it just like,
So I wear all my sneakers. I know a lot of people don't, like, not a lot, but I know some people don't. A lot of people will buy them, especially if they are a rare pair. They'll just kind of hold on to them as a collector's item. I wear every single pair, but to your point earlier, it is a little bit of a high. The pair I have on right now, I'm not a big fan of. I wouldn't have bought them if I didn't hit them on sneakers. But like Saturday morning came around, they were on sale, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can get them, and I got them. And now I have them because I hit on sneakers. So it's again, I think, you know, going back to like the marketing tactics and the emotions of winning a pair on sneakers, it's crazy that people will kind of go on a high because they won the opportunity to buy a pair of sneakers. But that's what they've done. They've cultivated an entire community who just lives off of that.
I have a follow-up that kind of plays off of Edmay's question. Have you ever bought a pair that like you personally think are just hideous, but because of the collector value, you got them anyway?
I haven't. So on the last few slides, like that's what a hype beast is, right?
Yeah.
Someone who buys a pair of sneakers or buys a pair of clothes because it's popular. I consider myself like an OG sneakerhead. I buy pairs that I like for the most part. I won't go after pairs that I think are ugly. You know, the ones that I have on, I wasn't crazy about them, but they're Jordan ones, so they're a great pair. But you know, the Bad Bunny ones, the tie-dye, they were super rare. They're reselling now for 4 times the price, and I didn't make an attempt for them because they just weren't my vibe.
So what's your threshold for when you either sell or retire a pair that you've personally worn?
Good question.
Like, do you wear them till they die, or till the value is high enough to sell and then buy more?
So it's an interesting problem for me because I have so many pairs that they just don't die, right? I have pairs that are like 10 years old and they look brand new because I can wear them 5 times in a year. So my kind of rule for selling is like when I'm out of space. So I moved to a smaller apartment a year and a half ago, and I just didn't have space for sneakers, so I sold off a bunch that I just weren't crazy about.
Marie Kondo.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it was my happy. I was making my place a happy place. But yeah, I don't really have a threshold for selling. It's basically when I run out of space, and I've just gotten really creative with storing my sneakers. So I don't know if that's gonna happen because I'm renting a storage unit. So.
That's awesome.
Miles wants to know, do you have any grails? Grails? What are those?
So Grails are those like ultimate, ultra rare sneakers. Yeah, I've got a few. I've got Travis Scott's. I've got a pair of off-white ones, which resell now for like $5,000. And I got a pair of Dunks that I actually bought for $60 that are reselling for $4,000. They're Tiffany Dunks. So I've got a few Grails in the collection.
I have a weird question because like I don't collect sneakers at all, but I kind of like watch how people are buying them and stuff. When did they start like typing off white on the actual shoe? And like, is that different than the shoes that you guys are getting? Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Is it a different shoe?
So that was one of the collaborations. So Virgil Abloh, who passed away earlier this year, was a creative designer at Louis Vuitton. And he was actually an apprentice of Kanye West. He collaborated with Nike to make his own range of sneakers. And he took his own spin on them, which was basically a deconstructed look on the sneaker. So if you look at them closely, you can see the threading where you normally wouldn't. You can see some insole where you normally wouldn't, and then you would also see like where the sole marks should be, where markings would be when they're designing a shoe. That was his approach to that look. And because he's a creative director at Louis Vuitton at the time, I think one of the most influential and important Black designers in history, those pairs were going off the shelf, and now that he's passed away, they're worth even more.
Okay, yeah, no, that's dope. I didn't know that was a collaboration because like I've seen multiple sneakers with that lettering on them, so I didn't know.
Yeah, so Off-White is his brand, technically. So
okay.
yeah, so
I
you
didn't
can
know
go to
that.
like,
That's awesome.
offwhite.com, and it's a high-end streetwear brand, and then collaborated with Nike. So like Off-White sneakers are like $800, but the Nike ones were retailing for regular Nike prices. So a lot of people were trying to get them, and now they're worth even more because after they passed away, they were limited.
Got it. That's really cool. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Azad.
Follow up to go ahead.
Fuck, kill, marry.
Of course.
The Starberries. You know what I'm talking about? Those were fresh. Nike Air Monarchs or any Under Armour sneaker. Fuck, kill, marry.
All right, so I'm killing Under Armours. I'd marry the Monarchs because of their dad shoes, so they'd obviously be carrying. And I'd fuck Starburst because Stephon Marbury is crazy, so he'd be a good fuck.
Aligned.
Follow up to Anna Laura's question. Do you have a sneaker content calendar? So you're like, oh, this shoe's gonna be nice on Tuesday, or is it random?
That's a great question.
Editorial planning your sneakers.
So funnily enough, when the office reopened, I was like, all right, I'm gonna just wear a different pair of sneakers every day so that like people at work wouldn't see me with the same pair. So I've been doing that. That's been my little game that I've been doing. So I come to the office twice a week, and I've yet to wear the same pair twice, and we've been back in the office since July of last year.
Do you keep track? Do you have like a little
I have a note.
Excel
on my
spreadsheet?
iPhone. I have a note on my iPhone. Yes.
How are they organized in your closet? Is it by brand, by color, by when you got them, by value?
That's a great question. So they're by style. Sneaker styles are called silhouettes. So basically like the Jordan 1, that's a silhouette. They come in different colors, the Jordan 3, 13, the Yeezys. So that's the same design, but different colors. So I will sort them by that. So all my Air Maxes are in one space. All of my Jordan 1s are in one row. All of my Yeezys are in one row. And then I'll pick the color that I want to wear that day.
They did an episode of The Home Edit on Netflix. I can't remember who it was, but there was a guy who had a massive sneaker collection, and they were like, it was such a plot point of like, how do we organize these? Because obviously they didn't know anything about sneakers. So
did they do the rainbow like they always do?
They tried. I think they did the rainbow by brand and then by silhouette. So it was they came to a consensus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can I ask a group question?
Yeah.
I want to know what everyone's favorite sneaker was as a kid. Like your favorite pair of shoes that you ever had.
Oh.
Whatever my mom bought me.
Penny
The
I
light
was-
up sneakers, Skechers, those Skechers that lit up. You walk.
Right?
I'm
Damn,
not a
Tony.
sneakerhead, but I have.
But
a
no,
pair
no,
of-
but like, yeah, not even like a collectible one, but like, you know, if you had like a pair that like you just loved as a kid.
I had a pair of Vans. They were like, no, sorry, they were Skechers. They were like wannabe Vans, so same silhouette, like canvas, and they were polka dotted. And I colored each one a different color and like wrote all over them. Those are my favorite pairs.
Yeah, I had a pair of red Chuck Taylors in
Oh,
fifth
yeah.
grade, and the kids called me Ronald McDonald. And then growing up in Chicago, like I ended up going with like a family friend to like this arcade that was an hour away in like the middle of February, and he had like a Jeep with like the canvas top, so like we're just freezing. And I like, since that day I could never wear another pair of Chuck Taylors because my feet were so cold, and I'll never forget it. Like I swear I got frostbite that night. But it was brutal.
Azad, you'll like this. I still have mine from 07.
Oh, love it.
Damn, everyone rocks Sambas.
Every single person in here rocked Adidas Sambas, and I'm here for
Also,
it. That's
I'm telling
where I
y'all,
can remember from my childhood.
Sambas are the sneaker of the
Shit.
summer, by the way. So if you want to really pull out a pair this year, get yourself a pair of Sambas because they're going to be awesome this summer. Guarantee it.
Azad, what's a better investment? Air Yeezys or an engagement ring?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow.
Engagement ring.
So,
Azad,
I
tread
mean-
lightly.
Keeping it real goes too far, sir. Killing me.
To be fair,
I'm gonna skip the one, but I mean,
one
Air Yeezys
depreciates
retail-
really quick.
Air Yeezys
I mean-
retailed at $225 and are now selling for $40,000. Like I don't even know what that ROI is. So that's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, you buy one, you don't need the other.
No, I have a serious question. Do you pick your outfit to match your shoes, or like your shoes to match your outfit? Like, what's the star?
Depends on what I'm wearing. So like if I have something more muted, then like the outfit is a star. But if I'm going with like really loud sneakers, then I will go with like today my sneakers are pretty loud, so I'm just wearing a plain t-shirt.
When you wake up in the morning, are you like, these are the sneakers that I want to wear today? And then like
Yes.
everything follows?
Yes.
Yeah, he has a content calendar.
True.
I really want to see a screenshot of the notes at the notes about all the.
Is it like in Clueless where you just have like the shoes and then like
Swipe.
typing?
Azad, what shoes do you wear when it's raining?
Ooh.
Oh, good question.
He was barefoot.
So of my collection, there are like obviously really expensive pairs, and those I will not wear out in the rain. But I also have just kind of like generic sneakers, so I'll wear those in the pouring rain. So like Air Force Ones, which are just like the white pair.
Those are the generic sneakers. That's funny.
Yeah, so those
Air Force
so,
Ones in the rain. Jesus.
yeah, I know. But basically sneakers that I can get like when they're really beat up and I can go back to the store and buy another pair. So like Air Force Ones are always in stock.
True.
So I can do that. But like for Jordans, on the other hand, like if I ruin them, I won't be able to get them again until they re-release in like 6 years, or if I buy them in aftermarket. So that's kind of what I do.
Good question. Miles wants to know, do you only collect sneakers?
Yeah. That's my vice. That's my vice.
All right,
I can't afford anything else.
There's nothing left.
what's your favorite colorway on any shoe?
A black and red. I think it's iconic. So bread, as they call it in the sneaker community. Like those were again, like I said, the most iconic pair of Jordans, and then a pair of Adidas Yeezys that are black and red are probably the highest selling pair as well. It's just I think that colorway, Chicago Bulls colorway, is just so closely tied to sneakers.
Well, he's got I think his Game 5 sneakers are coming up for auction.
Ooh, I can't afford those.
I don't remember. I don't remember what series. It's one of the later series. It's 97 or 98, but it's the Game 5 ones.
The flu games?
Flu game.
So yeah, it's not the flu game. So it must be the 98s.
I have a
Okay,
question
so
about those shoes.
yeah.
I mean, I guess they have to be, but like, I feel like those don't look like good shoes to play basketball in. They don't look like athletic sneakers to me.
Which ones?
The Jordan 1s.
So
But
they
I guess
were,
you're Michael Jordan and he turned out okay. So
they were at the time. So there's a reason why like LeBrons aren't popular in street culture, because they're made to be like really well, like really designed to perform really well on the basketball court. And they don't look great with an outfit. At the time, you know, the Air technology, which is like really lightweight rubber, it was sticky but lightweight, and the leather shoe made for breathable shoes. So at the time, 1984, it was innovative and a great basketball sneaker. If you watched the Last Dance, that Jordan documentary, he actually wore a pair of those in his last season with the Bulls, as kind of a homage to his rookie season, and he couldn't feel like his toes, and
they were bloody
at the Garden, right?
Yeah, they
at the
were
Garden,
bloody.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. So they obviously didn't age well, but again, thinking that technology is now almost 40 years old. So yeah, back then they were great.
Yeah. So you don't see anyone wearing them on the court these days.
Not anymore, no.
Yeah.
Unless
The
it's the
only
guy who shows up in like the full uniform to play street ball. That's the only asshole who wears those sneakers.
I will say Azad is unique in that he wears all his sneakers. Most of us have like pairs that we'll never wear. And then we have everydays. And I think that makes you kind of stand out, Azad, that you freaking just rock them every day if you want to.
Yeah, rock them, don't stock them. That's my motto. So
Actually, Azad, outside of skateboarding, what do you feel is the sport that has not monetized their footwear like basketball has? Because we know skateboarding killed it already, but
yeah, you know, I think it would probably be baseball. It's hard because football sneakers and baseball sneakers have cleats, and you can't wear those. But baseball is probably the only other sport that the athletes are as visible as basketball, right? You know, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Derek Jeter, these are huge names. The NFL doesn't really have that except for quarterbacks. So if the method, if the formula for selling a great sneaker is to tie it to a great athlete, a really popular athlete, baseball players are like super popular.
Do you think that has something to do with the age of players? Like for the younger crowd, like because at some ages they can't wear certain kinds of cleats because they're too dangerous.
I missed the beginning part of that question. Can you say it again?
Do you think it's all because of the cleats and because the age of the baseball players, the younger baseball players? Like my son was a big time travel player, but only at certain ages could he wear certain cleats and cleats that were like MLB.
No, I think it's mostly because you can't wear cleats with regular clothes. So, you know, there are really high-end cleats that sell for a lot of money. There are golf shoes that sell for a lot of money because they're great for golf and baseball, but they don't make the mass appeal. They don't make that crossover to pop culture because you can't wear them out.
Sure. Yeah.
So basketball sneakers you can because they're flat bottom.
Which is weird though, because like I feel like soccer does a good job at like monetizing the cleat sneaker.
True.
Yeah, so the way that Nike has done it now is they've been giving soccer athletes and even Derek Jeter collaborations with basketball shoes. So like there is the Derek Jeter Jordan 11s, the Ronaldo ones, the PSG ones. So like they're giving them collaborations on classic Jordan basketball shoes, but they don't have their own shoes yet because it's just kind of hard to market them. The only baseball player that I could think of was the Ken Griffey's in the 94s, which were basically they just removed the cleats and put a basketball sole on them, and they sold out really well enough because Ken Griffey was just larger than sport, but they just haven't really done that again.
Well, you'll notice what they've done in the NFL the past couple of years. Like most of the linemen demanded to have like a Jordan upper, and then they put cleats on them. So now most of the NFL players wear a shoe that looks like a Jordan that has cleats.
Yeah. Odell Beckham is one. Yeah, he's really
and they didn't they release the Jordan golf shoe?
They did. Yeah, you get basically Jordan 11s and every colorway with golf cleats.
Yeah.
This should be Yachty's retirement project for baseball from MLB.
Yadier
Just
Molina.
random
Sorry,
side
St.
note.
Louis Cardinal, big fan here. Sorry.
Just random side note real quick here. The only baseball game I've ever been to is one that Michael Jordan played in. So hearing all this, I grew up in Birmingham, the suburbs of Birmingham, Alabama. So like my dad got like free tickets to like a company event or whatever. And it's like, I mean, like, why is he making golf shoes now? Michael Jordan sucks at golf, you know. Like, I don't understand that. Like every charity function he goes to, he sucks at. He sucks at baseball. He needed to really stick with his niche. Like he should have taught a pop chat on like niching down into what you're best at, and not branching off into shit you're just wasting time and money on.
Well, I'd argue that him venturing into golf shoes is kind of like the evolution of people that grew up with the sneakers. So like he broke genres with Jordans. Like everyone, no matter what race, creed, and social status, wanted Jordans in the 90s. And then they grew up, and you know, some of them turned into me, and then some of them turned into like people who played golf, and now they can still wear their Jordans while playing golf. So
It's the market, the market aged with him.
Yep.
It just no golf. No.
I have
And
a
if I'm
fun
gonna go to a
story.
golf shoe, I'm gonna get one that's made, you know, by someone other than Nike, you know, who like really specializes in golf and really makes things happen. I'm not it just seems like a money play, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think those golf shoes aren't for performance, right? Those are people who want to play golf and aren't really great at it, but want to pair Jordans when they play golf. So they're not performance shoes.
So fun little story. Michael Jordan's son, Marcus Jordan, went to UCF, went to my college, and he would come to our games and stuff. And we would always see him in the box with like his 6 rings or whatever. And, but his son, we were sponsored by Adidas, and his son would refuse to wear Adidas, and Adidas got pissed off. And there was like this whole back and forth thing because he only wanted to wear Jordans, and Adidas eventually pulled their contract, and then we got sponsored by Nike. So it all worked out in the end, but it was like a whole thing. Yeah.
Also, funny story about Marcus Jordan. He's in a lot of hot water in the sneakerhead community because his venture is opening a sneaker boutique called Trophy Room. And obviously, because he's Michael Jordan's son, he gets exclusive colorways that are only available in his store. And he's kind of been outed for like not selling them in the store, but instead backdooring them to resellers.
Yeah.
So he's been, he's kind of being made fun of.
He likes to break the rules.
Well, that leads me, so that leads to my question. What do you think about the son of the Nike executive who was, you know, had access to selling? And also, does Nike or any of the other shoe companies, do they have a responsibility to kind of monitor and safeguard the marketplace?
I think they do.
Yeah, Azad, how do you feel about that backdoor?
I think Nike and the rest of the marketplace does have a responsibility to do it. So some background on this story for those of you who aren't aware. The son of, I want to say, the VP of marketing of Nike is one of the biggest resellers in the world. And he allegedly was getting these sneakers the legal way, which is debatable, but like getting them through botting and making connections in the sneaker community and then selling them online. And unfortunately, he was also using his mom's company discount, getting leads on when stores would be overstocked and get there and buy them on sale and manipulate the market. So that's like one of the dark sides of the sneaker community, which is crazy. If you get really into it, especially the reseller market, like it's a black market of shoes, and similar to like drugs, where like people are making deals behind doors and people are breaking the law to make a huge profit on these shoes. So I think, like, again, Nike and all the sneaker brands have to do a better job of like cracking down on this, because it's kind of ruining sneakers for everyone.
Wow. Well, this has been enlightening. Like I said, we need a full documentary. I don't know if that exists already, but but there should be. Is there one?
Who said they had a story? Someone said they had a really good story.
I think I said I had a story and then I told it about the UCF.
Oh, Sorry.
No, all good. Thank you for
I
checking.
mean, has anyone seen the Jeff Goldblum series on Disney Plus, where he goes into different communities? So he learns about like, he went to like Levi's and learned about jeans and that culture, and then same with like ice cream and barbecue. Well, he did one on sneakers.
Oh,
So I'd be curious if anyone else saw that and what they thought about it.
No.
I'm not, but I would be interested.
Because he goes in and he says, I honestly have no idea about any of this stuff.
Where does he
And
go?
he'll have-
Sneaker store?
So I think for that one, I think he goes, so for each episode, like for the ice cream one, like he went to like Ben and Jerry's, then he went to like the Minnesota ice cream festival or something. The same with like the jeans one, he went to Levi's and made his own custom pair. And then he went to like the swap meet that does whatever jeans. And I think the sneaker one was Nike. And then he went to one of the, I guess there's like a sneaker convention. And there are guys walking around with cash, with, hundreds.
Yeah.
And they walk up and they'll look at something for 30 seconds and be like, no, this is fake. I don't want this. Or they'll look at this and be like, yeah, this is the one that was obviously worn by Jordan while he was warming up on that Tuesday game. Here's $4,000. And they walk away with it. It's
wow.
But with Goldblum, we all know how he is, but he's just very inquisitive. He doesn't make fun of anyone, or he's just like, I want to learn. I want to absorb everything. And I think they do a great job in that series of just dumping him in and immersing him into everything.
Can I ask a question? Since my main background, it's marketing and communications, but I'm a farm girl. So I'm wondering the materials that are used to make sneakers, but also you just brought up about the jeans and things. So much cotton, it's grown here, but then it's shipped overseas to create whatever the product is, and then it's shipped back here then for the screen printing or whatnot. What is it that is used in sneakers? Do you know?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I'm curious too, like Goldblum.
We're really nerding out over here now.
So most sneakers are leather based, right? So like all Jordans are leather based. So leather and suede are probably the two most common materials used. And yeah, to your point, most sneakers are manufactured in China. So they're sourced leather internationally, sent them to factories in China, and then shipped here. New Balance has really leaned in on made in the USA, and they're standing by like their shoe being a better quality than everyone else. So if you see a pair of like New Balance 990s that say made in the USA on their tongue, they're going for like $300, but they're supposedly much better quality.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Good to know. Well, thank you, Azad. This again was so insightful and lots of good questions. I feel like we all are just so curious about the sneakerhead lifestyle. So keep us posted on the Notes app and what you're wearing. We want to see more pictures. I think I speak for everyone when I say, I think you need to do like a Twitter thread that has your daily shoe. Yeah.
I think I could do that. I was debating about starting a TikTok about sneakers, and it's just like so much work.
Yes.
But I think I can manage a picture.
Start with a thread.
That's 174 days of easy content.
I know, seriously.
Exactly. Now you're thinking. So yeah, definitely appreciate the presentation. Thank you so much. I don't know if you wanted to, you're still at the office. I don't know if you wanted to just to get going, but you could always listen to us on your phone too, like when you went to IKEA. But I feel bad that you're at the office.
I'm going to pack up and I'll probably dial in on my walk to the train.
Okay.
Alrighty. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, I'm going to stop the